let's look at some of these agendas that have already been accomplished by the Trump administration. At the Department of Agriculture, Project 2025 sought to restrict the Low-Income Heat and Energy Assistance Program, LIHEAP, LIHEAP, who knows if they even pronounce it that way. And on April 1st, 2025, all staff at LIHEAP has been fired. Remember, this is a low-income heat and energy assistance program. So if you are a low-income person who was getting assistance with your heat and energy, the program has effectively been ended because all of the staff has been fired. And that was one of the agendas of Project 2025. Here's another Project 2025 agenda item that has been completed by the Trump administration. Their goal to weaken federal employee unions. Completed on March 27, 2025, Trump signed an executive order stripping collective bargaining rights from federal workers in 18 departments. Remember, collective bargaining is another way to say unionizing, coming together so that you can bargain and negotiate for better terms at your job. And of course, Trump went after the unions, and that was part of Project 2025's agenda, and it's already been completed. This is one of the 42% of agenda items from Project 2025 that have already been completed by the Trump administration. Okay. We have the Department of Homeland Security. Project 2025 called for them to eliminate the Office for Civil Rights and Civil Liberties. That was completed on March 31st, 2025. Of course, you know, the administration, MAGA, and Project 2025, they were coming for any diversity and equity and initiative, and inclusion initiative programs, right? They want to remove any protections for people to try to balance out the inequalities that we see in the labor force, in other areas. And they came hard for DEI. You know, they want to make sure that they're giving those white men their unearned privileges and their advantages of being white in a white male supremacist society. Okay. So they got rid of they just got rid of it. The Office for Civil Rights and Civil Liberties. Department of Homeland Security. Project 2025 wanted to create a quote, single nationwide detention standard, end quote, that includes the quote, flexibility to use large numbers of temporary facilities such as tents, end quote. This was completed on April 11th, 2025. The administration is currently housing immigrants in El Paso, Texas, in quote, tent complexes, end quote, made by a company called Deployed Resources. So guys, Project 2025 wanted to create detention camps, wanted to create, let's be real, concentration camps, and let's be real, extermination camps. And they've already achieved that through the Trump administration in the first 3 months of the administration. The Commodity Futures Trading Commission, Project 2025's goal was to reduce regulations on cryptocurrencies. That was completed on April 8th, 2025. The DOJ instructed prosecutors to erase crypto in enforcement. Excuse me. And you know, Trump's been hawking his crypto scams, right? Trump's been out here hawking his crypto scams. So of course, he and his crypto buddies, he's going to make sure that he deregulates for them. And this was a goal of Project 2025, and that's already been accomplished by the Trump administration. The Department of Homeland Security, Project 2025, wanted to eliminate the Office of Immigration Detention Ombudsman. And they also wanted to eliminate the Office of the Citizenship and Immigration Services of Ombudsman. That's both been completed on March 21st, 2025. In education, Project 2025 wanted to cease investigating Title VI disparate impact cases. That was accomplished on March 12th, 2025. Effectively achieved by closing most civil rights offices. Staff says it will be, quote, virtually impossible, end quote, to resolve discrimination complaints. Remember, Project 2025, right? The DEI program for white men in America, they are attacking the DEI program for everybody else, right? And they were able to accomplish this through the Trump administration that lied to the American people and said he had no idea what Project 2025 was. He was not associated with it, but yet here he is having already implemented 42% of it in the first 3 freaking months of his administration. The Environmental Protection Agency, Project 2025, wanted to roll back the goal of haze reduction, visible air pollution. They accomplished ending the rollback of haze reduction on March 12, 2025, guys. They said, Project 2025 said, you know what we need more of? Smog, haze, visible air pollution. That's what we need more of. We don't, you know what? Clean air, F that. If we have clean air, how are all of my cronies that are in oil and fossil fuels, how are they going to continue to be billionaires? No. We need to make sure that we have more smog, more haze, more visible air pollution. So we are asking for the EPA to rescind the goal of reducing that. And they did it. March 12th, 2025, the Trump administration made it happen for Project 2025. Also with the EPA, they requested to institute a pause and review of all grants. This was completed on March 12th. The EPA terminated grant agreements worth $20 billion. So when in the next few years, when you start seeing smog again, like it's the 1970s all over again, you know exactly who did it. You know exactly who suggested it. Project 2025, Heritage Foundation. You know exactly who implemented it, the Trump administration. And you know exactly when it happened, within the first freaking 3 months of his administration. March 12th. In the Department of Commerce, Project 2025 wanted to abolish the Census Bureau National Advisory Committee on, you guessed it, race, ethnic, and other populations. And the Trump administration completed that on March 4th, 2025. Remember, they're coming for the DEI. White, rich men in America, they want fairness as long as they're at the top of the fairness. They only want inequality when they are the ones that benefit from it. Okay? So next we have the Housing and Urban Development. Project 2025 wanted to repeal the Affirmatively Furthering Fair Housing Act, which requires HUD, the Housing and Urban Development, to actively address historical patterns of segregation. They got rid of that March 3rd, 2025. So essentially, you trying to segregate in housing, go for it. Because Project 2025 made sure that the Trump administration got that through. Then we have the Department of Agriculture again.